afternoon and welcome to Midday Live. I am Wendy Lai. Coming up this afternoon. Defense Minister calls the bluff of security experts who raise concerns about the state of force agreement between Ghana and the United States. Information Minister descends on media for giving mileage to leaked defense agreement between Ghana and the United States. To mark World Water Day, we'll take you to Nima and Mamobi, where a store drainage project has worsened in sanitary conditions in the two communities. And in business, government suspends the charging of import VAT on selected commodities less than 1 month after implementation. And on the firing front, new information on the operations of embattled data analysis from Cambridge Analytica suggests it had a controversial role in Nigeria's presidential election in 2015. I've got details of these stories and many more lined up. Please do stay. Let's start with our stories now. Defense Minister Dominic has launched an attack on the former Foreign Affairs Minister Hannah Tete for signing a bad defense agreement with the American government. Defending the defense agreements that has caught public attention, the minister says the NPP administration only sought to legitimize what was never in the interest of Ghana.
I'm saying to you that get these documents and read them and ask questions why Hannah Tete signed this without bringing it to the people of Ghana. It's like give more too. At the blind side of the people of Ghana, why do you go to sign? And the Americans base their preamble on this document that you have signed with us, so we are bringing a different agreement. You have also signed. If these documents were not there, I don't think the Americans would have based this agreement on this. They may have started from a lower angle.
That was the defense minister's first jab at what he describes as a hypocritical minority, contrary to claims by the minority that the agreement was new and would lead to the creation of a U.S. military base in Ghana. The defense minister Dominic said the erstwhile NDC government signed 2 previous agreements with the U.S. military, which gave unimpeded access to the U.S. military in Ghana.
So I can assure the people of Ghana that after this agreement, you will not even know the U.S. soldiers are in Ghana. Because they are confined. They are not like civilians who move around in town. They move by orders, and they are confined. So they come and do training for 2-3 weeks, and they go back. It is when you have a problem like disaster that you will see them come to help you because of this agreement. That's why you need friends. God forbid, if somebody were to attack us, and because of this agreement, they will assist us. That's all that it means. That when we have a disaster, we have something we can say, oh, but this agreement, so you have the responsibility to come and assist us.
Dominic, while quoting portions of the agreement signed in 1998 and 2015, said the past NDC government had already committed the Ghana government to the agreement but failed to bring it to Parliament for ratification. The defense agreement with the military in the United States has come under intense scrutiny from the public, and experts say the deal is bad for Ghana. The defense minister also took the experts to the cleaners.
Attract terrorists into Ghana. Where were those particular security experts? They didn't see anything wrong when those things were signed. Why were they not saying it before? Why are they not criticizing the NDC government for signing secret documents when the people of Ghana didn't even know? Between the two governments, who is more responsible?
So if the government considered the deal signed by the past government as bad for Ghana, what significantly has changed this time around?
The fact that the U.S. cannot just come to Ghana, unlike the 98 one, and start holding guns outside, but that they will consult with the appropriate authorities, Ministry of Interior. And that will not give them a blanket tax waiver, but that they will consult with the Ministry of Finance and Parliament.
In related developments, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson, has expressed disappointment in the huge public outcry that has greeted the Ghana-U.S. Defense Cooperation Agreement. Now, he described it as a misunderstanding of the entire agreement, which he says is in the interest of both countries. The ambassador, in an interview with TVC, maintained the U.S. has no intentions of having a permanent base here in Ghana, even though they do have in other countries.
I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding, first of all. We are not establishing a base here. The agreement that is now before Parliament is an update. When the first agreement was signed in 1998, we were not providing the same level of military assistance and training. We were not providing the counterterrorism training that we're providing to the police and the armed forces. Ghana was involved in peacekeeping, but not to the same level. The agreement protects Ghana by making it clear what Ghana's rights and responsibilities are, and by making it clear what the United States' rights.
We'll bring you more on that story as well, but still staying on this very discussion this afternoon, I have in the studio a security analyst, Emmanuel Kuting, who's been following this very trending story. Good afternoon, Emmanuel, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, thanks for having me.
Now, the defense minister, has disregarded some of the concerns which have been raised by security experts, asking that where were you all this while, even when the previous government did sign the agreement. What do you make of this?
Well, I think his statements are quite unfortunate and quite very disingenuous. I will ask him to do the right thing by apologizing to the security experts. I think we have always done the right thing. If you go back to memory lane, the two Get-Mo detainees issue, when this current government had to go to Parliament for ratification, I was here to say that, yes, you can blame this current government because they didn't have more information at the time. And I even posited that it is a learning curve. Any opposition party, major opposition party, is a government in waiting. So there's a need for such a dialogue. Where was Dominic when we made those assertions? Is it because this time we are against this very document he's taking a swap at us? I want to just advise him, right? He should get out of the media landscape and allow his PR team to do this work. Because if you look at security, we don't conduct security in the media landscape. And let me be very blunt here. I'm a friend of the United States. My organization benefits enormously from grants from the United States, but we will not allow the United States to insult us or allow ourselves to be insulted by the United States. Look at this document. And I have always posited that the devil is always in the details. If you look at the details, it doesn't correlate with what the defense minister and the U.S. ambassador is telling us.
Now, let me hold you there, and still on this very issue, he's mentioned and keeps referring to the agreements that were signed by the past government. Yeah. Now, and seems to be okay with what they're signing. You're going to touch on consequences. What are the consequences for Ghana?
Yes, to be very honest with you, what the NDC government did at the time wasn't right. And I think it has to do with the structure of how we formulate our foreign policies. Even the Deputy Interior Minister at the time, James Agaga, maintained he was not even aware. Granted, in the Honorable Defense Minister's own words, that the Hanatete sold us. Why is he not buying us back? I don't believe in politics of equalization. And you see, in security, let's take time and depoliticize the issues. What are the consequences? Now, terrorists didn't know that Ghana was used as a base to attack Boko Haram and stuff. Now, as a security and defense minister, you have come out to make the whole world know that this was happening in the past. Are you not sure anti-American sentiments will come or be directed towards us? And don't forget, there's a school of thought, and we can't discount that school of thought. America had a base in Burkina Faso. What is happening in Burkina Faso today? Look at Ivory Coast. When Kenya allow Americans to use their base to attack Al-Shabaab, look at Kenya today.
Right.
And people make arguments that the Germany, Spain have signed similar agreement. It is anchored on the NATO alliance, and they have a common interest.
Thank you so much.
What is our alliance with the U.S., and what is our interest? And more specifically, under a U.S. president that is so unpredictable, we sign our sovereignty to the U.S. I don't think is the right way to go.
We're grateful for your time. Thank you, Emmanuel Kutin. He's a security analyst. Then still on trending matters, Information Minister Mustafa Hamid has chastised the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, for undermining the sanctity of Parliament by leaking documents to the media. Mustafa Hamid said it's marks of disrespect for the NDC to put it out there in the public and agreements yet to be discussed in Parliament.
The penchant by the NDC for undermining the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana is very dangerous for our democracy. Under military dictatorships and so on, the judiciary is there, there's always cabinet, there's executive. But dictatorships don't have parliaments. So parliaments are a very unique feature of democratic societies and must be guarded jealously and respected. This is the second time that a document goes to the House of the Representatives of the People, and then NDC elements in that parliament rush these documents to the media, to social media, to public spaces. What is your legitimacy? Your legitimacy is that you are an NDC member of parliament. So if there is no parliament, or the credibility of parliament is destroyed, your legitimacy as a human being in our democratic process is also gone. That document, from what the minister has been saying, has been in this ministry for more than 8 months. After that, it went to cabinet and stayed around the cabinet secretariat for another maybe 4 months,
yeah,
or whatever. And the day that we take it to parliament, in order for the representatives of the people to discuss it, NDC elements in the parliament then take the document, photocopy it, and throw it into the public space when even the debate in parliament has not started. I don't think that that is the way to run a democracy. When we were in opposition, we were very responsible to know that you don't undermine parliament in this way. But you, the media, must also help us in calling the NDC out on this behavior, so that when they leak documents that are yet to be discussed in parliament to you in order to generate a public discussion ahead of the parliament, you tell them that this is not correct. You have the opportunity and the forum in parliament. Please make your point in parliament. After all of these media houses, you have your representation in parliament. And therefore, you cover parliamentary produces. So they could have made all these arguments they are making on radio inside the parliament. But why do they want to have debates? Then if they want us to dissolve parliament and do a free-for-all type of democracy where we are all sitting on radio and trading, if you want, illogicalities, then let's do that.
You're still watching Midday Live. In other news, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, has asked teachers not to join any strike action after March 31 in demand for salary arrears. Leadership of the association says it has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Finance to raise a supplementary voucher to pay the arrears next week. NAT's General Secretary David Ofori-Champon spoke to Aleba reporter Danilo Puku.
Some teachers are upbeat are waiting to begin a nationwide strike to demand their 2013-2016 salary arrears. The Ministry of Finance signed an MOU with the leadership of all teacher unions to pay the arrears. Barely 7 working days to the end of the month, some teachers have expressed concern the arrears will not be paid. They alluded that the Controller and Accountant General's Department has already processed the March salaries, which could create a delay. But the national leadership of the Ghana National Association of Teachers has warned its members not to join any strike. General Secretary of the association, David Ofori-Champon, said supplementary voucher will be prepared to pay the arrears next week.
The information is available for anybody who is serious and wants to have information. You can go to the Ministry of Finance, talk to the Deputy Minister who is personally handling this matter. You can go to Controller Accountant General's Department and find out exactly what is happening. It's not a matter of shouting. It's a matter of looking for the information and throwing it out there. I want to make it emphatically clear to our members that the agreement still holds. Salaries have been prepared for March. We expect the validation from their various schools to have been done by the end of this weekend. We expect the salaries to hit the account by the 26th, and we expect the supplementary voucher for those who have gone through successfully validation exercise for their salaries to be worked on from the 26th.
Currently, 17,000 out of 65,000 names of teachers have been validated for payment. David Oforechampo indicated not all arrears of the teachers will be paid by March 26. He called on other aggrieved teachers to seek information from the Ministry of Finance before attempting to join any strike.
When the figures are submitted, it means that controller have to go back to the IPPD3 system that we were using to cross-check and make sure that that data is found there. When the data is found there, they work on it to pay. So gradually, the numbers that have been worked on are the numbers that are going to get paid. So people will get their monies in March, others will get in April, others will get in June until the 65,000 is exhausted.
Meanwhile, NAT has expressed confidence the validation of teachers will be completed this year.
The Executive Director of the Center for Democratic Governance, CDD, has echoed calls for the Ghana at 60 committee to render accounts for expenses made during Ghana's Diamond Jubilee celebrations. Professor H. Kwesi Pepra says Ghanaians must begin to demand more accountability, not only from the Ghana at 60 committee, but public institutions who refuse to publish their statement of accounts.
People are entitled to ask questions and to ask for an accounting. If you come to the people to raise funds, whether it's tax money or whether it's donations and voluntary contributions, you're still, I think, have a duty, or it as a duty, because that money is given to you in trust to perform a certain specific public function that you said you were going to perform. And I think people are entitled to it. We're still in the first quarter of the year. There are many places there whose books of accounting haven't still closed yet. So maybe we should give them a little time, but at least we should serve them notice that the people expect an accounting of the funds and how the funds were used. I mean, I think people, yeah. I mean, oh, you mean after
a whole year, yeah.
Yes, after a whole year. I mean, when did their books close? December 31st, maybe. Well, so let's say at the end of the quarter, or the first quarter of the next year, which is at the end of March, we can begin to expect something. We should serve notice now so they know we're expecting them in the second quarter to give us a full accounting. But it is not just the Ghana at 60. I think, when was the last time you saw the financial statement of a state-owned enterprise? SNET, Cocoa Board, any one of those? We don't routinely get these things. And I think that we have to begin to demand to see the financial statements, the balance sheets, the income statements of every single state body that is funded from public funds.
You're still watching Media Live. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying. Time now for business. And government has asked the Ghana Revenue Authority to suspend immediate effect the charging of import VAT on selected categories of commodities. Now, the import VAT was slapped on 64 commodity groups from March 1, raising concerns among the various importers groups following sudden price hikes. The statement issued by Information Minister Mustafa Abdul Hamid on Wednesday indicated the hike in import charges were unintended and that the suspension of the import VAT, a temporary measure, follows extensive consultation between government and various stakeholders. Affected commodities included mobile phones, electrical transformers, tractors for agricultural purposes, solar cells, musical instruments, outdoor motors, concrete motor mixers, and day-old chicks. Also suspended but indefinitely is the proposed fumigation levy for shippers. And that's all for business. Let's look at some other stories now. And with a potential of 1 in every 1,000 children born likely to suffer from Down syndrome, the challenge for society is how to support these children medically from birth and socially in order to enhance their future participation and contribution to mainstream society. In this special feature, we'll look at Patience Bansa's life and tell the story of those with Down syndrome. The purpose of my visit is to get to know 39-year-old Patience Bansa, who suffers from Down syndrome. Patience happens to be that one person born with Down syndrome out of 1,000 births each year around the world. How did you get the news that your sister had given birth and the baby had Down syndrome?
When she had her, we found she wasn't normal. So their father was in London, so we sent them there. When they went, they took her to hospital. But we found out that hers wasn't bad.
Down syndrome is a type of mental retardation caused by extra genetic material in chromosome 21, a condition that can be caused by a process called non-disjunction. Non-disjunction happens when genetic materials fail to separate during a crucial part of the formation of the gametes, resulting in an extra chromosome called trisomy 21.
She wasn't talking. It took her some time before she could talk. We all took it coolly.
Having lived with Patience for 20 years, 80-year-old Elizabeth Adams, her aunt, says Patience sometimes likes to have her own way.
The only problem is sometimes she doesn't want to do what you say. She will do what she likes. When she does wrong, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Then she will blow you some kisses.
Persons with Down syndrome can achieve optimal quality of life through parental care and support, medical guidance, and community-based support systems like special schools. The last of 3 children, Patience always exhibits independence. She manages to get to school all by herself. Patience has been a student of New Horizon School since 1994. For most people with Down syndrome, it is a lifetime of learning which involves repetitive activity. She easily identifies with daily living skills, including the use of her hands in school. With all these accomplishments, can Patience be put on the par with others in all aspects of society? Over the years, negative attitudes and the lack of knowledge about the potential of persons with Down syndrome prevents them from having opportunities and making meaningful contributions. Hold on.
People doubt their ability, but we always want you to come in and see what they are able to do. Those of them who are able to do good work, at the end of every term, we give them some allowance to take. So what we do is we calculate the number of items they are able to do, and then we calculate the profit, and then we give them 50% of whatever comes out of it.
In a country with a high rate of unemployment, Patience and others like her will fall well below the threshold of employment due to her medical condition. The dream to have a society where persons with intellectual disability bring their skills to the communities they belong to may take a long time to come. The deputy principal of the New Horizon School Workshop says one step to achieving this is to first accepting persons with Down syndrome.
If society understands the situation and understands them, I think we can all together help them so that they can live meaningful lives in society.
The irony is that Ghana's president co-chairs the group of eminent persons on sustainable development goals. Goal 10 expects countries like Ghana to strive to reduce inequality within and among countries by empowering and promoting social, economic, and political inclusion of all, including persons with disability. The acting executive secretary of the National Council on Persons with Disability admits we haven't done enough for people with disability.
It is an area that we should start paying attention. We haven't designed any program purposely for persons with Down syndrome to get employed. What we are currently doing is general for all persons with disability.
Kofi Davo is a labor expert.
Educational institutions, our curriculum and everything must be geared towards providing them that incentive that prepares them for them to engage in employable skills.
Thank you. 12 years after the passage of the Disability Act, patients and many, like her, will only be able to contribute meaningfully to society if given the needed attention and support, which her auntie, Elizabeth Adams, believes starts from not isolating persons like patients.
I would like them to visit the school because some of them have kept them in their homes. They don't take them. They've kept them in their homes, biting people, beating people. But when they go there, they learn a lot.
It will take a while longer, a bit more of advocacy, and a society that sees and accepts and supports persons with Down syndrome and see them as just normal people trying to live with a genetic disorder which is no fault of theirs. You're still watching Midday Live. Two other stories now, and today is World Water Day. To mark the day, let's focus on some stories. So for residents of Kulun in the Wa East District of the Upper West region, water is a prized commodity. Bright now for reports, residents scoop unwholesome water from a pond for use. The borehole in the community constructed is yet to produce fresh water.
The community contributes 100 million. So, and we drill a borehole. It was water, but we don't have money to buy the hairs and then the pipes.
Over 400 people live here. The excitement is only because they have visitors. The community is quiet when there are no visitors, and there is virtually no activity. This is due to inadequate social amenities. There is no health facility here. A 30-minute walk or a 10-minute ride on a bike will take residents to Yala for health care. For pregnant women of Kulung, drinking this water is a danger because the facility can't take care of them properly. In this difficulty, water is a challenge. Getting the commodity is a headache. This is the only source. They would never pray for the dry season to come because the season is a nightmare in the search for water.
This is what residents of Kulung here in the Upper West region rely on. This is the only source, and at this time of the year when it is dried up, there is indeed a huge problem for them. Women, children, and everyone in the community relies on this kind of water from this stagnant pool. It starts from right behind me and drips here, and it gathers. I'm told that it takes hours for it to gather to the level that it can be scooped into their receptacles or containers. Residents of Kulung are really distressed water is a prized commodity, a challenge they are battling to deal with. They rely on this for household chores. I doubted at being told that this is indeed the water used for drinking. Then I got the shock of my life. Even children were given some to drink. They had made effort to dig a borehole, but had been unsuccessful. A last-minute effort, however, yielded some water, but resources had run out. To get pumps to bring out the water, some more funding was needed to finish the work.
We don't have money to buy the hairs and then the pipes. So the contractor told us that we should find 30 million. So we want to contact the DCE. And the DCE too, he said that he will come. We follow him up to date. So we went to the Funsi Assemblyman. We contacted him that he should send us to MP at Accra. MP said he have called the DCE and give him the go ahead. So he called the DCE and the DCE to say that he's going to Tamale. That after he returned, that he will come.
They therefore had to continue relying on this unwholesome water for use. Several appeals in the past for help did not yield any results.
Now, water is a very, very huge problem here. Right now, they have to walk about 1 kilometer before they can get to the source of water. And even when they get to the source of water, they are scrambling for the water of animals. So the animals also go there to look for the same water, the same source of water, and that's where the animals also drink from.
The District Assembly is ready to step in. The promise is that Kulun's water challenge will be fixed.
They have initiated a borehole and then they hit water and reported to Assembly. So when it was reported to Assembly that they themselves have initiated a borehole and they had water, I went to the community myself, went and saw the borehole. So I asked them to actually provide details of the one who drilled the borehole so that I will contact him to find out about the yield of the borehole so that the Assembly will take it up and complete for them. So for now, we are ready to support them to complete the borehole for them. Once we have made several attempts and could not get water, and they themselves have now been able to drill and hit water, we are ready to take it up and complete it.
The only source they could rely on is dried up. The community lives close to the Kulun River. In October 2017, the river had water.
3 months ago, in October, I stood at this very same place, the Kulun River. This is the shores of the Kulun River. There was indeed water. Vehicles had to struggle to get to the other side. Motorbikes had to do the same. 3 months on in February, it is totally dried up. The river has been cut into pieces. Communities that lie on the banks of the river rely on it for consumption, but now they have to struggle to even get a little that's left in the river.
With the river dried up and no rains expected till May, residents of Kulun would have to wait for the borehole to be fixed before they can access clean water for use. Brighton and Anfo, TV3.
And still on stories related to the World Water Day, Johnny Hughes exposes insanitary conditions at Nima and Mamobi after the construction of a drainage system in both communities stalled.
Filth, despair, neglect, deterioration, ticking time bomb. These words perfectly describes the current situation of the twin slums of Nima and Mamobi, arguably two of the most famous Zango communities in Ghana. Their story is not a pleasant one, even in the 21st century. Nima presents a jaw-dropping view of a packed, decrepit, haphazard and unplanned housing units inhabited by impoverished people. Their needs are enormous, but the insufficient supply of shelter, water, electricity, employment, security, and good drainage system tops the wish list. Nima and Mamobi are strategically placed in close proximity to the Flagstaff House, the seat of government. In fact, Ghana's president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has repeatedly mentioned how he was raised in this vicinity and how he still keeps his Nima residence. But right in the center of these two communities lies the infamous Nima Gata project that serves as a boundary for the Ayawaso East and North constituencies. The Alhamdu Gata, as it's also called, was initiated at the advent of the Atta Mills government to ensure the smooth flow of wastewater and improve sanitation. Unfortunately, it now poses a threat to the lives of those that live near it. The project was earlier handled by Caspian Energy Ghana Limited, but it stalled twice between 2013 and 2015 after missing an initial 2012 completion deadline. It was later re-awarded to Queiroz Calvaro, the Brazilian construction company that put together the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange. Their deadline was set for a period of 2 years between 2015 and 2017. Yet, in 2018, there has been next to no improvement, and the story remains the same. Presently, the sides of the drain are heavily choked with a carpet of waste, from human excreta and polythene bags to bottles and organic waste. The health implications need no explanation. Children and adults use this abandoned project as a walkway to and from work and school. The Community Connect team was told how children have often fallen into the drain and gotten badly injured. Mazu is brother to Sunday, who lost his life after falling into the Alhamdu Gata. The plot thickens as food and other commodities are served on the platform of filth with careless abandon.
Initially, I did not feel comfortable selling food here, but now I have gotten used to the smell and danger. I use mosquito coil to ward off flies and other insects.
It is true that water is a prized commodity, but must it be fetched from any source despite the consequences? But when a burst pipe profusely wastes clean, potable water, it becomes very worrying. And if indeed cleanliness is rarely next to godliness, as they say, will God like to dwell in this mess at Nima and Mamobi?
And concerned citizens of Etiwa Landscape, a group made up of representatives of several NGOs, youth groups and interfaith groups, began a protest march on Saturday, March 17 from Etiwa in the eastern region to the Flagstaff House to vehemently oppose the intended bauxite mining, citing its negative impacts on forests and millions of Ghanaians. The 6-day protest march to the Flagstaff House has seen the teeming youth of Etiwa walk 95 kilometers to Accra, with their first port of call being the head office of the Forestry Commission, where its Chief Executive Officer, Kwejo Owusu-Efriye, commended them for their resolve to protect the forest. He reiterated the commitment of the Commission to protect the nation's forest reserves and donated an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis to the group to support their cause. The group has already petitioned the Ochihene and the president of the Achim Ibuaka Traditional Council, Osajefo Amwetio, for opinion. This is Still Media Live. We'll be back shortly.
Hello there, it's time to run by you the latest sports stories here on Midday Live on TV3. My name is Yao Ofosulabi. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Aidoo Stars Football Club, Albert Comey, says they are delighted by the draw as they set their sights on making amends for what they could not do in the CAF Champions League by qualifying to the next stage of the competition. I'm still on that.
The boys, they are very determined, and they are very happy that they have another chance to prove themselves. And when you look at when the draw came, the way they are reacting, it tells you that they know there's something ahead that they have to achieve. This is not about Adriana, this is not about only Doma, This is about Ghana, and we need to make sure that we defend the Ghana flag with all the support that we are having from various places. There are no minnows in football now, and what you need to do is to take your time and then study your opponents properly, and also concentrate on your training to make sure that at least you don't sleep for the second time. In fact, the situation we found here, we've learned a lot of lessons that we need to do more in terms of the opponent's home ground and weather conditions. So we have not taken chances. We take it very serious, and we have to come back home. Continue our preparation. We know that Sunday we have a match against Sharks, and Wednesday we'll continue with the league. These are all preparatory matches for us in order to get ourselves conditioned well for the next 2 weeks when such a match will be played first at Nana Adjumabedui, the first stadium.
Right, so still staying in the Ghana Premier League. The league has already begun and the games are coming in thick and fast. But we have heard very little about new entrants Karela United Football Club. Now, a PRO of the club, Samuel Nyan, spoke to my colleague Thierry Nyan on Sports Unlimited last night about the club's prospects for the season.
Sunday, we are playing against the Team 11 that they're going to be one of the biggest games in our history, because since the Ghana Premier League was started way back in 1950, that will be the first time Nzema Club is going to play in the Ghana Premier League. So Sunday, it's not going to be a small match at all. It's going to be the biggest in Nzema football, and we are going to prepare towards that particular game against the Team 11. So here in Nzema, everybody is talking about Karela, and we are trying to, at least after we lost Midama Sporting Club, we are trying to put things in place that at least we can also get a win against Team 11. Today we had a training, and the most important, the big one is that most of our players who were not able to play for Karela against Midama Sporting Club have all joined the colleagues, talking of even about for thanking of Lampard and the Makia side.
Okay.
And the game that you are trying to announce our presence to the Ghana Premier League. So we're going to show to our fans and nation to come to Anome, and we're not going to disappoint them. We will try to at least get them as 1 point to make sure that, of course, Karela has also come to the Ghana Premier League to stay.
So that's from Karela United Football Club. Now let's come back to Accra, where the Premier League board has confirmed that Accra Hearts of Oak's first home match of the season against Ashanti Gold Football Club has been moved to Saturday, the 24th of March 2018. The match will be played at the Cape Coast Stadium, the club's adopted home ground for this season due to extensive renovation work going on at the Accra Sports Stadium. The rescheduling of the match, originally fixed for television coverage on Sunday, was necessitated by Aidoo Stars' inability to honor their television scheduled match against Elmina Sharks at the Indum Complex on Saturday. Well, that has not gone down with Hearts of Oak CEO Mark Noonan, who posted on his Twitter feed that something must be done about the irregular changes in fixtures in the Ghana Premier League. Noonan believes it is the only way clubs and the PLB can do better for fans and stakeholders of the Ghana Premier League. So that's all for sports. My name is Yao Ofusula. There'll be more sports news in our subsequent bulletins. Over to you, Wendy, for more news updates.
Thank you very much indeed, Yao. Next, we have international news.
Reports reveal Cambridge Analytica was hired by an unnamed Nigerian billionaire to work on the re-election campaign of then-President Goodluck Jonathan. It was paid an estimated $2 million to orchestrate a ferocious campaign against then-leading opposition candidate Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari went on to secure a historic election win in 2015. Prior to that, Cambridge Analytica reportedly attempted to use hacked personal emails of Buhari, which were provided by Israeli hackers. Cambridge Analytica's parent company confirms it was hired to provide advertising and marketing services for the Jonathan campaign, but denied receiving or using hacked information during the campaign. Elsewhere in Africa, Cambridge Analytica has confirmed working on Kenya's elections in 2013 and 2017. Beyond the continent, the firm is facing severe accusations of illegally harvesting millions of personal profiles on Facebook with its controversial methods linked to the UK's landmark Brexit vote and President Trump's election win in the US. The social network Facebook is also facing questions of its own over its data and privacy policies. The court asked authorities to revoke the two companies' licenses and block their mobile apps and software. The ruling was based on a 2016 lawsuit filed by local taxi drivers, who stated the ride-hailing companies were in violation of Article 32 of the traffic law, which prohibits using privately licensed vehicles for commercial purposes. Uber said it would appeal the decision, adding the verdict didn't mean it was suspending operations in Egypt. The court's decision comes a month after Uber shuttered its activities in Morocco, lamenting a lack of clarity on regulatory frameworks. The company faced irate taxi drivers in the North African nation, who accused Uber of having an unfair advantage. Since its entry into Africa over 4 years ago, drivers in South Africa and Kenya have also attacked Uber of growing into a monopoly, with cabbies harassing and attacking Uber drivers in Nairobi. French rail workers have announced a wave of rolling strikes from April to June that threaten to cause travel misery for passengers across the country. Rail unions have described the move to hold a series of 2-day rolling strikes throughout the spring as innovative. The rolling strikes will be carried out on 2 days out of every 5 until June 28, unless the government drops its plan, which includes stripping new recruits of jobs for life and other benefits. Although the strikes may be called off if negotiations succeed, it appears unlikely given the anger among unions, for whom scrapping the special employment status of rail workers, who often have to work weekends, nights and holidays.
Now to entertainment. And this afternoon, we're celebrating a promising female guitarist and poet, Sage. The rising star has been sharing her dreams and passion for the art form with the entertainment news. And enjoy her latest piece titled, Wait.
Wait. That's the title of the piece, Wait. Wait. He has no shoes on his feet. This morning he woke on the streets with no food to eat, and yet somehow he's expected to dance to the tune and the beat of this cruel world. They left him for dead when he was only but a heartbeat. Pounding and pounding, his chest is exploding, then his head starts spinning, but your car won't stop moving. Walking, he's jogging, next thing he starts running, you're calling his flow. This life he abhors, see he's weak, he's cold, his eyes they show. His hopes, his dreams, his stories untold. Stuck on a runabout of the wrong way, unable to break free. Silently he cries out for help, and we all can see. For me, when I was writing it, I was thinking about when you see someone going through suffering and you have a means of helping, a way of helping, I think you should do it and don't wait till tomorrow. So how long shall we wait? Well, I've loved poetry for a long time, for about 10 years now. I did literature in school, so I've been writing since then. But professionally, I started this about 8 months ago to actually come out as Sage and then do poetry. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. The response, I didn't expect this kind of response because I know that the poetry market is not as large as probably music or rap here in Ghana. So for me, the response has been really helpful and great, and I'm grateful to Rhyme Sonny too for pushing me. I do not say this because I want the children to come out and play. Go away, for when you come, she and her sisters are left desolate. Their backs so broken from carrying all of the world's weight on their fragile shoulders. Have mercy, rain. But it's quite evident that for most of the art forms, it's dominated by men, and poetry is no different. But we are trying to, effect change and bring some sort of movement. So I think there are a few female spoken word artists who are also doing really well, and I know that it's only a matter of time. Maya Angelou set the pace for us, so don't lose hope. You could be the one to influence somebody else to also take up poetry. And so if you're out there and you know you love poetry, don't hold back, keep pushing, and you could become the next star.
All right, now in the next entertainment story, we have a rather interesting question for you today. Would you wash and cook for a man you are yet to marry? And to the men, would you be comfortable providing financial support for a woman who doesn't cook or wash for you? Let's hear your comments now.
What a question. Would I? No, I won't watch for my boyfriend. No, I won't watch. I can't watch for him. It's like if you watch for him for the first time, it will be a daily routine. He will always want you to watch for him. I'll be there, you text me, baby, I want to eat fufu. You can go and buy fufu and eat.
If you are not ready to cook for me, if you are not ready to watch for me, then I'm also not ready to also spend on you.
You are not going to spend on me. I was fine for you, kid. So if you don't spend on me, go.
And that is what the ladies are missing now. When you go and buy papaya, you go and buy KFC and all those things, you don't know that they are incurring some cost that is unnecessary.
I think it's a no to like a 90% extent. Until I have gotten your ring on my finger, the selection process is not complete, like Steve Harvey will say. And so I don't think that I should put in that much effort into a relationship. That is extreme to wash for a boy.
There are lots of fishes in the sea. If you're not ready to do that for me, someone else is ready to do that for me. So I think I would rather maybe let you go your way, and I'll equally go and find someone who is actually ready to settle with me and do all those kind of things for me.
Will you cook and wash for a boyfriend?
Honestly, I believe that yes, once in a while you need to wash for your boyfriend, you need to cook for him.
If I am in a relationship with you and I'm washing your clothes, cooking for you, I'm doing all these things for you, I believe that there's no way you find it serious to get married to me, because I'm virtually doing everything I'm supposed to do in marriage.
You see, those people who are advocating for this particular thing are the ones who don't know how to cook.
I'm going to treat you normal, but psychologically, trust me, you will suffer. The way I live with you, you're really going to feel the pain. You're really going to feel the fire out of it. It's a psychological prison. I'm going to imprison you, and trust me, you're going to change for the better.
I won't do that, not at all.
You are there say, me, I not cook for my boyfriend, I not do this, I not do this. Those who come and cook will also maintain them. We will take you to the nightclubs, we will take you to all the places that you want, the flashy places. But at the end of the day, when we go and sleep and dream, we dream about the fear bar. You understand?
Well, interesting comments there. The debate goes on and on, but this is where we joined out the curtain. Thank you so much for watching Midday Live. I am Wendy Lai. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Do have a lovely and beautiful afternoon. We have some more programs lined up for you. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching.